626-4651 to share with us a brief account of what issues are concerning you the most and you want the broader community to be aware of. We invite you to call us, email us, what's on your mind today. The NAN Youth Huddle will meet on Monday, September the 30th at the House of Justice Auditorium. All are welcome to join. Okay? The announcement will come further about that afterwards. Spread the action. Get into the action with our youngest and brightest dreamers of today and leaders of tomorrow. For more information on the NAN Youth Huddle experience, you can call us at 877-626-4651 or email nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com. Tune in to MSNBC's Politics Nation with Al Sharpton every Saturday and Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time live on MSNBC. As we do every Saturday, we're going to kick off the broadcast this morning with some important announcements coming from the Vice President of the New York City chapter of National Action Network, Dr. Alvin Ponder.
Thank you, Sister Crawford. Thank you. Good morning, brothers and sisters, listeners and viewers, and thank you again for tuning in to the Saturday Action Rally with the National Action Network. Here's some information to keep you in the know. Get Out the Vote Tour. Reverend Sharpton and the National Action Network kicked off their critical Get Out the Vote campaign yesterday on Friday in none other than the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Members of the Central Park Exonerated Five joined Nan and Reverend Sharpton to energize voters, remind everyone of all that hangs in the balance and how we can encourage and inspire others to participate in this most sacred democratic process, voting. Nan's Get Out the Vote Tour will hit other key states like North Carolina and elsewhere, focusing on the 2024 election and issues like police reform, civil rights protections, DI, and much more. Reverend Sharpton said it's not about whether you're for Kamala or if you're for Trump. It's about who's for you. And if you vote for who's for you, you'll have the right vote. With a little over a month to go until Election Day, Nan and Reverend Sharpton will be reminding everyone of what the Biden-Harris administration achieved and what life was like under Donald Trump. We will highlight how it was Donald Trump who took out full-page ads to call for the death penalty to be reinstated against 5 Black and Latino boys, how it was Trump who stopped the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act from passing, and how it was Trump who held up the Bible and threatened peaceful protesters who were just asking for police accountability. Members of the George Floyd family will join Nan on the Get Out the Vote tour at certain locations as well. And for more information, please go to our website at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Triumph Awards and Rev's birthday. It all goes down on Monday. National Action Network presents its annual Triumph Awards. This year, all the more special as we celebrate Reverend Sharpton's 70th birthday. Taking place at Jazz at Lincoln Center in New York City, the award ceremony recognizes the contributions and dedications of an array of artists, entertainers, legends, and notable figures who inspire us and continue to give back to the community through their work and beyond. This year's Triumph Awards will honor Gladys Knight, Robert De Niro, Carolyn Cookie Mason, and the legendary Wynton Marsalis. We will also acknowledge Reverend Sharpton's triumph through the decades, fighting for justice and equality for over 50 years. For more information on the Triumph Awards, again, go to our website, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. network.net. The celebration of Nan's fearless leader continues into October with another birthday celebration, this time on the West Coast. Nan, California will host a prestigious event filled with music, laughter, and recognition in support of Reverend Sharpton, as well as our critical Get Out the Vote campaign. This birthday bash will be held on October 31st. Stan will be co-hosted by Cedric the Entertainer and Anthony Anderson. The event co-chairs are Irvin Magda Johnson, Robert F. Smith, Sylvia Rohn, former LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, and Fabian Nunez. Both the Triumph Awards in New York City and the Birthday Bash in California in October will honor those continuously uplifting others and their enduring mark on the culture. And of course, we will celebrate Reverend Sharpton's 70th year. Fight for DEI continues for the 38th week in a row. The National Action Network held its annual weekly protest outside the Midtown Manhattan offices of hedge fund billionaire Bill Ackman, calling for the preservation of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Ackman, who led a vile smear campaign against former Harvard President Dr. Claudine Gay last year, has also continuously attacked DEI programs nationwide. The people united will never be defeated, chanted the crowd on Thursday. We will fight, we will win. When DEI is under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. More than a dozen GOP attorney generals sent letters to Fortune 500 corporations threatening legal action over DEI policies, and conservative activists have pushed anti-DEI measures in states around the country. In the year since the Supreme Court's affirmative action decision, some 68 lawsuits that question or challenge DEI have been filed. Nan will continue to lead the fight to push back against these regressive efforts and instead preserve diversity, equity, and inclusion. Remembering Sybil Morial. Reverend Sharpton was in New Orleans for the funeral services for Sybil Morial, longtime civil rights activist, widow of New Orleans' first black mayor and mother of the National Urban League's Mark Morial. Former Ambassador Andrew Young, First Lady Jill Biden, Reverend Sharpton, and others all paid tribute to Sybil on Monday at services at Xavier University in New Orleans. Reverend Sharpton read condolence messages from both Vice President Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff. President Biden paid respects in a video which was played at the service. R.I.P. to Al Sharpton Sr. Reverend Sharpton and the entire National Action Network team mourn the loss of Alfred Sharpton Sr. Through his grief, Reverend Sharpton released a powerful statement which read in part, quote, "Our relationship was complicated, but he was still my father. Over the past 18 years, I was able to work through my pain and feelings of abandonment. We built a relationship that meant a lot to me. Born and raised in Jim Crow, Florida, he later came to New York City and became a successful entrepreneur. Though his weaknesses may have cost him, he instilled in my sister and me, and later our other siblings, a mentality of independence and self-pride. I've learned from my own mistakes and from his. May my daddy rest in peace." Funeral services will be held this Tuesday, October 1st, in Orlando, Florida. Welcome to all of you who have tuned in and joined us, also via live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and also live on Facebook at the National Action Network. If this is your first time joining us, and or if you're not a member of NAN, we welcome you to NAN and invite you to join us and get into the action today. For more information and to join, you may visit again www.nationalactionnetwork.net or just call 877-626-4651. Again, that number is 877-626-4651, or just text the word NAN to 59769. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Ponder. Before we go into the What's on Your Mind segment, I apologize. I made an error. NAN Youth Huddle will not meet on Monday, and that's due to our Triumph Award celebration. So please forgive me for that error. Reverend Ron McHenry is here this morning, and he wants to know what's on your mind.
Thank you, Sister Crawford, and good morning, National Action Network. To those who are watching live stream Facebook, YouTube, or are listening on 1190 WLIB, we welcome you to another week's segment of What's on Your Mind, where you, the community, have the opportunity to share what's on your mind. Please step up, tell us your name, where you're from, and briefly, what's on your mind.
Good day, everybody, and God bless everybody. My name is Sister Reverend Word. I'm from heaven, born in Harlem. I'm 73 years old and new, and I'm a National Action Network lifetime member. Of course, what's on my mind is Bible scriptures. In particular, Christ Jesus showed us what to think on, and we must think on what is true. In particular, I want to highlight the situation with our mayor, Mayor Adams. We have to know that the truth of the matter is he's entitled to due process in court. He says he's not guilty. I'm not a lawyer, but I know those charges do not affect our democracy. He's a strong supporter of democracy. He's done very well, and he continues to do well because he is supposed to keep that job until due process is totally given to him. We have to keep this in mind because we have a presidential candidate who has 34 felonies already and more felonies pending. So those of us in New York City, we support this mayor. He's entitled to due process. He's entitled to continue to say he's not guilty. And we must continue to support him because he is taking care of the city. Therefore, he has our concerns in mind, and we must support him. God bless you. Good day.
Thank you very much. Please step up, tell us your name, where you're from, and briefly, what's on your mind.
Hi, my name is Rose, and I'm from New York. What's on my mind is the distraction. There are so many things that are set in our way in our culture right now to distract us from really what's going on. Because if we focus on the allegations and the indictment of our mayor, we're forgetting about Project 2025. So the fact that we got to remember, he without sin, let he cast the first stone. Let us make sure we do not judge a person till all the evidence is in place. And I wanted to send out a public announcement to President Biden and Vice President Harris. For over 20-something years, as a single mother, I was going to school and I had the student loan debt for decades. Nobody else had came to my rescue and help. But the Biden and Harris administration had gave me forgiveness loan debt. Do you know how much it feels that monkey's off my back? And I thank them for what they have done. And please, if you have a chance, come out on Thursday for DEI. Let us stomp down the evil. Let us stomp down the wickedness and those who trying to take us back, because we're not going back.
Thank you very much. Step up, tell us your name, what's on your mind, and briefly, what's on your mind. Thank you.
My name is Cheryl Chapman. What's on my mind is our bus trip we had yesterday. I want to thank Reverend Sharpton for having it. I want to also thank Patrice, Goldie, Dottie, and Rosie for giving us a nice trip. We was very productive. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Please step up, tell us your name, where you're from, and briefly, what's on your mind.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Jesse Fields, Harlem community doctor. What's on my mind is inequality and injustice in medicine. I've seen too much of it. We as a people have had too much of it. In March of 1966 in Chicago, Dr. King said, "We are concerned about the constant use of federal funds to support this most notorious expression of segregation. Of all the forms of inequality, injustice in health is the most shocking and the most inhuman because it often results in physical death. He went on to say, and I quote, "I see no alternative to direct action and creative nonviolence to raise the conscience of the nation. We have to raise the conscience of the nation, the city, the state. Injustice in health and in healthcare and the denial of healthcare because you do not have the right insurance, because you have Medicaid and not private insurance. One of the many issues that is not being addressed is uterine fibroids in black women. They're not having access to timely gynecological care when there are serious symptoms of uterine cancer. It's unacceptable. We cannot tolerate it. Part of the injustice is the indifference to it. Medicine should be for the people, not for profit. I'm starting a group, Black Women for Black Women's Health. I want black women to lead it, Black Women for Black Women's Health. If you want to do grassroots work in the community for black women's health, join me. Black Women for Black Women's Health. Sign up.
Thank you very much. Please step up. Tell us your name, where you're from, and briefly, what's on your mind.
I'm Dr. Frank Douglas from Basking Ridge, New Jersey, lifetime member of NAN. What's on my mind is DEI. Again, I want to thank you, Reverend McHenry, for the work you do. I am told that barriers are now up, but as I say, demonstration leads to legislation. As mentioned, last year, the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action. Let me give you 3 examples of what's happening. At Brown University, this year, 9% as compared to 15% of blacks enrolled. Amherst, last year, 11% of blacks enrolled. This year, 3%. MIT, last year, 15%. This year, 5%. I was a professor at MIT. I was the founder and first executive director of the MIT Center for Biomedical Innovation, and I resigned my position from MIT because of discrimination. One of the things you have to know, when the enrollments start to go down, the hostility comes up. So, anyone who's facing hostility, reach out to our crisis hotline. Our DI committee is here to help you. Justice Now.
Thank you very much. Please step up. Tell us your name and briefly what's on your mind.
Dawn L. Jones, what is on my mind is voter registration, and this month being Suicide Awareness Prevention Month. The National Action Network New York City Chapter Political Action Committee, 4th Saturday monthly meeting will be held right here at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street, right here in the village of Harlem, on Saturday, September 28, 2024, from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Hope to see your face in the place. For further information or learn more, contact Nan Pack at 212-690-3070. We will engage and register voters right here at the House of Justice at our voter registration drive on today, Saturday, September 28, 2024, at 12 o'clock noon. And National Action Network Disability Committee will host in-person event Suicide Prevention Awareness right here at the House of Justice. That is on today, Saturday, September 28th, 2024, from 12:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Thank you for your attention, and don't forget to vote on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Polls open at 6 o'clock a.m. Peace and blessings.
Thank you very much for those remarks. Please step up, tell us your name, where you're from, and briefly what's on your mind.
Good morning, I'm Winifred Ayuk from Brooklyn, New York, and from Cameroon. What's on my mind is migration. I never heard any of these politicians talk about long-term solution to the migration, which is to prevent people from leaving their homelands. I suggest the superpowers and the United Nations update membership status in United Nations to include basic democratic principles. That alone is going to reduce poverty around the globe. Many of these nations do what they like. No presidential term limit all their state officials are appointed. European Union has basic democratic principles, and that's why not everybody in Europe is in European Union yet. So as a partial long-term solution to the migration crisis, United Nations should update its membership status to include basic democratic principles. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To those seated here at the House of Justice, to those listening via radio or our social media platform, that concludes this week's segment of What's on Your Mind. We just want to remind folk that what you've heard, the viewpoints of the contributors, are simply the viewpoints of the contributors and don't directly reflect that of the National Action Network. We thank you very much. You can reach out to us at www.nan.whatsonyourmind@gmail.com. You're back to our host, Sister Crawford.
Thank you, Reverend McHenry, and all that contributed today in the What's on Your Mind segment. Let us welcome soloist Tisha Hunter under the direction of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson.
As I look back over my life and I think things over, I can truly say that I've been blessed. I've got a testimony. As I look back over my life and I think things over, I can truly say that I've been blessed. One day I could not see my way through, but the Lord, He brought me out. Right now I'm free, and I've got the victory. I've got a testimony as I look back over my life, and I think things over. I can truly say that one day I could not see my way through, but the Lord, He brought me out. Right now I'm free, I've got the victory, I've got a testimony as I look back over my life, and I sit down and think, I can truly say that I've been blessed. I got a testimony. The Lord has been good to me. One day He set me free. Picked me up and turned me around. Placed my feet on higher ground. The Lord has been good to me. One day He set me free. Picked me up and turned me around. Placed my feet on higher ground. I got a testimony. He's been good. He's been kind. Bless Him at all times. Bless Him at all times. Testimony. I got a testimony. Yes, He's been good. Yeah. I got a testimony. I got a testimony. I can truly say that I can truly say that I can truly say that I've got a testimony.
Soloist Tisha Hunter and the Change Ensemble. Our members are hard working on the ground to raise the issues and making a change into a reality within this country. To hear more about what our committees are doing right here in the New York City chapter, we take you in the House this week with John Royster, member of the Second Chance Committee of the New York City chapter.
Good morning, Nan family. As the MC mentioned, my name is John Royster, and I'm here as of September 11th, a year after 36 years in prison. And I'm proud to be a member of the Second Chance Committee, which is a great help for folks that are trying to reentry and stabilize. And I want to give this report. Second Chance on-air presentation overview, Saturday, September 28th, 2024. Greetings, NAN family, guests, and listeners. We extend special thanks to Reverend Sharpton, especially to Reverend Sharpton, and the National Action Network for their continued support. The Second Chance Committee was founded in 2009 by Victor Pate, our leader, his wife Mary Arnold, and Dennis Levy, 3 formerly incarcerated NAN members, for the purpose of advocating for criminal justice reforms, assisting incarcerated and formerly incarcerated persons and their families as they navigate the reentry process from prisons and jails, to provide resource support for the families of the incarcerated, and to conduct informational and educational forums on criminal justice reforms, legislation, and policies. Thank you. The Second Chance Committee is engaged in ongoing voter registration and education on Rikers Island monthly for eligible detainees and sentenced persons. We have participated in rallies and protests addressing the deaths and conditions on Rikers Island, and collaboratively organized numerous local rallies in New York City. We conducted a 3-week voter education curriculum online and in person. We are currently engaged in the continuing advocacy for the closure of Rikers Island. On Saturday, October 19th, 2 to 3:30 p.m., we will be conducting an informational educational forum on the How Many Stops Act, what to do if you are stopped by the police. The Second Chance Committee will continue to be in collaboration with activists, abolitionists, advocates, and agents for change as we continue to fight for justice for all people on all levels of society. We have resumed our second Saturday monthly meetings, and contact is VP1 Second, that's SECOND, Chance, CHANCE, Committee, COMMITTEE, @gmail.com, and the phone number is 646-289-1096. And in closing, I'd just like to mention that I signed up for the trip to the lobbying in Philadelphia yesterday, but my problem is that the parole officer has to approve it. So NAN actually has to call them to let them know that I'm going out of state and that I'll be with them. And this is something that NAN might be aware of for the future where it comes to young men who want to participate in their voter registration initiatives, but are restricted from statewide travel by parole restrictions unless NAN actually contacts them itself. And with that, I'll close. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Royster, for that important information concerning the Second Chance Committee. Let us welcome back our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson.
The blood that Jesus shed for me, way back on Calvary, the blood that gives me strength from day to day. It will never lose its power. It soothes my doubts and
The Change Ensemble under the direction of Minister Tyrone Richardson. Every Saturday, we have an inspirational word coming from one of our leading pastors across the country. Please welcome to bring an inspirational word to us this morning, Minister Cherie Thomas, youth pastor of the Powerhouse Church in Lakeview, New York. Let us receive her with a warm National Action Network welcome.
Hallelujah. Can we stand to our feet and give Jesus a praise, everybody? Now, can we open up our mouths and give Jesus a great shout of praise? I don't know about you, but when I woke up this morning, I was grateful for my life, health, and strength. While we're still standing to our feet, can we give God praise one more time for Jesus Christ? Yes, Lord, and we honor God this morning for the great leadership, Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, President and founder of the National Action Network, and Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, the chairman of the board. And I honor God for my pastor, Bishop Darrell Hill, and thank God for all of you. Would you tap somebody and tell them, happy to see you this morning? All right, you may be seated just for a moment. The Lord is so good. The Lord is so good, and I'm honored to stand before you to deliver this word of inspiration to you. We find ourselves living in a society that celebrates individuality more probably than ever before. This prevailing mindset seems to be one of self-focus. Everyone's focused on doing me. This is for me. This is for mine. This is for who is related to me, who works for me. In the era of social media, even, we find with even my 16-year-old daughter who has followers, who has people that's following on stages where she is able to engage with her personal perspectives. Our schools are filled with messages about expressing yourself, posting and urging our students to share their feelings according to how they feel or their mood, or identify with whichever way resonates within them personally. You can easily access millions of videos that teach you how to do things yourself. We also have phones that give us access to so many self-service options, and everything we have figured out how to do it on our own. However, this push for individuality can sometimes lead people to make extreme measures and to do things to stand out to the point where it is damaging to our community. It is important that we know that as much as it is important for you to be an individual, it is more powerful if we are gathered together as a community. We need to be mindful with this agenda of society that we don't prioritize individualism to the extent that it undermines our effectiveness as a community. This is why being a part of a church, this is why being a part of the National Action Network, this is why being a part of an organization that somehow produces and develops the betterment of people is very, very important. In Hebrews 10 and 25, the Bible tells us, forsake not the assembling of ourselves together, because it is important that we do things together as a community. Would you open your mouth right quick and shout community? So I want to use for a subject for the next few moments, corporate identity. Well, what is corporate identity? If you look it up and see the definition of corporate identity, we see that it is the image or the manner in which a corporation, an organization, or a business presents itself to the public. This is the same thing for believers. It's the same thing for ethnic groups. It is important that we all are able to put aside our differences for the bigger picture at large. It is important with the corporate identity because we are seeing an image that speaks for that specific culture or specific brand or specific denomination, or it identifies. You are never confused when you see McDonald's or Burger King. You know that McDonald's looks like McDonald's and Burger King looks King. What is the importance of us having this strong corporate identity? It helps to ensure that we believe the same thing and we say the same thing. It also allows us to differentiate between our competition or those that are in other groups. It also helps us to effectively engage with others. One of the communities that lead by great example with corporate identity is the Hasidic Jewish community. They somehow know how to live in our world and not be a part of it. They know how to educate their children, shop in their stores, eat their own food, and not conform to the culture that's presented before them. Oh, but you know what the problem is? Some of us don't understand how important community is. Therefore, we're not able to be productive. It is important that we understand the power we have as a people, the power we have as a community, the power we have in sticking together. Tap somebody and say, stick with me, stick with me. So here in the scriptures, in the Bible, I want you to read this when you get home. 1 Kings chapter 10. We see that the Queen of Sheba goes to meet Solomon. She goes to meet Solomon and to see what was going on in this palace. There were words that what was happening in the home of Solomon, that it was very, very great. There were rumors that preceded Solomon that said what he had going over there was a very great thing. So the Queen of Sheba, she goes to visit, not because she wanted to invest or be a part, but she wanted to satisfy her curiosity. She heard things. That's the first thing I want to encourage you all in this room today, that your reputation will always precede you. And anything that you profess to be will be tested. The Bible says that the Queen of Sheba goes. She goes and she tests Solomon. She asks him questions, trying to figure out who it is that you are. All of this that they're saying about you. When she shows up, she sees that it's not just what she heard, it was better than what she heard. What was impressive about what the Queen of Sheba experienced, not that it was just beautiful, but that everybody that was a part of Solomon's kingdom was doing the same thing. They were all on one accord. Do you know how powerful we'd be if we would all do the same thing? If we would put our individualism aside and our individual motives and gather together to get the goal accomplished. So what's happening here, Solomon is displaying such a great corporate identity. Now, the Queen of Sheba was not a saved woman. She wasn't a church woman. She was a person who believed in many gods. But because when she got to the home, she understood, when she got to the kingdom, when she got to the palace, she arrives there and see that they're all doing the same thing. And one thing she says, I'm gonna she said, blessed be the Lord your God. In other words, she was so impressed by their unity. She was so impressed that not just the high people were doing the right thing, but those that were low. Not just the ones that made a lot of money, but even the ones in the low income. Everybody was doing their part. Would you open your mouth and say, do your part, do your part? Because if you're doing your part, we're all going to be blessed. The Bible says that the Bible says that the Queen of Sheba says, I'm so impressed by what's happening here. Not only am I going to bless a God I don't believe in, I am now going to be a blessing to you. See, that is the thing. We should be so compelling as a community of believers, as a community of black people, that anybody that steps in our presence should be compelled to be a part of what we are a part of. If you are passionate, we should all be impressed by what you are passionate about. But here is the part of the text that I love the most as I go to my seat. The Bible says that as she was preparing to leave, she leaves a blessing that Solomon was not even expecting. It actually translates to being millions and millions of dollars. What happens when we are effective as a community? We will receive blessings that all of us can eat from. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get my portion. I don't know about anybody in this room, but I don't want to just be blessed. I want you to be blessed. Would you turn to somebody and tell them, do your part so we can be a community that identifies as one? Give God a praise in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you, Minister Cherie Thomas, for that powerful word. Let us welcome the Change Choir under the direction of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Of our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Brothers and sisters, all in the house, stand to your feet as we receive our president and founder, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton.
No justice, no peace. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
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 Shake hands with the person next to you. Tell them you love them.
Never give up and never give in. A change will come. Keep it down within. Troubles and trials will pass away. With God on our side, nothing but pride. Hold on, be strong. A better day is coming and it won't be too long. Yes, change will come. Change will come. Change will come. Starting with you. Your change will come. Your change will come. Starting with you. Your change will come. Your change will come. Never give up and never give in. A change will come. Keep it down within. Troubles and trials will pass away. With God on our side, nothing but pride again. Hold on, be strong. A better day is coming and it won't be too long. Yes, change will come. Change will come. Change will come. Your change will come. Your change is gonna come. Your change will come. Your change is gonna come. Your change will come. Your change is gonna come. Change will come. Change will come. Change will come.
Over the weeks and months, I travel a lot. And I thought about not long ago how when I was a child, I watched as Martin Luther King and others were marching in Birmingham, Alabama, to really set the stage for what became the Civil Rights Act of 1964. As they were marching, there was a law enforcement official in Birmingham called Bull Connor. And as I later in my 12, 13 years old joined Operation Breadbasket, Dr. King's organization chapter here in New York under Reverend William Jones and Bishop Herbert Daughtry, who's here, and Jesse Jackson, I learned that they strategically went to Birmingham because they wanted a sheriff that would act up and show the world how brutal they were. So Bull Connor was strategic. A lot of y'all operate out of emotion. Some of us operate out of strategy. That's the only way you're gonna make change is you be strategic. And according to strategy, Bull Connor reacted. He sicked the dogs, police dogs, on school children, and sicked the dogs on Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, who was leading the Birmingham movement that invited Dr. King in. They locked Fred Shuttlesworth up in jail, and they even had bombed his house more than once. But the other day when I went to Birmingham, I landed in the Fred Shuttlesworth International Airport. In the city that he was beaten and jailed, they now have the federal government named the airport after him. I rode all over town. I didn't see nobody naming nothing after Bull Connor. But if you stand up for what's right, you may go through some mess. You may go through some changes. You may be bruised and afflicted, but if you hold on, your change will come.
Your change will come.
over from there to Louisville, Kentucky. And to my surprise, almost the same story. Because if you go to Louisville, I knew Muhammad Ali well. And when Muhammad Ali won in the Olympics and came back to Louisville, he told the story a lot. I've heard him say it, that he couldn't eat in the white restaurant. And he took his gold medal and threw it in the river in Louisville. And he recounted that story in my presence many times. And I remember when he stood up and refused to fight in the Vietnam War. They stripped him of his title. They took away his earning ability. He told me that they even cut his utilities off and he couldn't pay his bills. But he kept on taking his stand. And the Supreme Court said he had the right as a conscientious objector. He went back in the ring and won the title 2 more times. And if you don't get to go to Birmingham to Shuttlesworth Airport, you can go to Louisville to Muhammad Ali Airport. Somewhere I read that the stone that the builder rejected will become the cornerstone. If God is on your side, who can be against you? So if you here facing a crisis this morning, everybody that became great faced a crisis. Everybody that did something had to go through a test. Just pass your test, no matter how heavy the load, no matter how dark it seems. If you hold on and stand up, your change will come. National Action Network Change Choir. Give them a hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally. For you that are live at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the village of Harlem. And for you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, and for you that are watching us on various media platforms, we're happy to be with you another Saturday to give our report on where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Nancy Darlene Crawford. Our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. And certainly had enjoyed a band. Give Chris and the band some. And certainly we were inspired. Give a word or give a hand to who gave us a word, Minister Sherry Thomas. Gave us a word this morning, and we needed that word. Let me say that first. Let me thank all of you that went with us yesterday to Philadelphia, where we did the first of about 7 to 10 planned get out the vote bus tours, saying how critical the election is, and people need to know what's at stake. And we went to Philly, brought a bus or two. I think it was a bus and a large bus van, and it was all packed. We had to make room, and the two of the Central Park exonerated 5 went with us. Councilman Yusef Salam and, of course, Corey. And I had to come back dealing with all this stuff here. But the bus was delayed because Corey was downtown Philadelphia signing all the autographs. So stand up, Corey Weiss. I kept calling saying, y'all left yet? It says a line wanting to meet Corey Weiss. So I told him, well, do what you got to do. But I'm thankful for all of you that came and spent the day. We're going to do Detroit. We're going to do Pittsburgh. We're going to North Carolina where the man said I should have been shot. We're going to Ohio, 2 cities in Ohio. We're going all over between now and Election Day. I'm not telling folk who to vote for, but I'm telling them they need all the information. And they saying some polls saying some black men leaning toward Trump. Well, they need to talk to some black men that he called for the death penalty. And nobody can tell the story better. Corey went to jail almost 14 years for something he did not do. Called for the death penalty, put an ad in the papers, paid $85,000. So I just want them to tell the story like they did at the Democratic convention. So I want everybody to, that can, as we announced them, we're going to do a couple of weeks, that can to please go with us and be part of the Get Out the Vote Tour National Action Network. I also want to say that on Monday night, the Triumph Awards is at Lincoln Center. And that's also going to be the New York celebration of my birthday. And I'll be thank you. I'll be 70 years old, 70. 10. And today is the 99th birthday of my mother. She would have been 99 today. And in the middle of it, on Tuesday, I go to Orlando, Florida to bury my father. So my actual birthday is Thursday, October 3rd, but I'm celebrating Monday night in New York, but I gotta go Tuesday morning to Orlando to bury my father after celebrating the day my mother, who made a way for me when Daddy wasn't there. Whatever I've been able to do, I give credit to my mother. And she, like so many mothers, that's why I stand up and fight for so many, because I see my mother in the mother of Trayvon Martin, in the mother of Eric Garner, in the mother. My mother fought for me, and I believe in fighting for those of us that need to and must stand up for our people. Let's welcome Impact Television joining all over the country. Let me say that we're honored this morning to have with us the chairman of our board, who is also the pastor of Grace Baptist Church. He called, said he wanted to come. He knew it was time I was dealing with my father-in-law, and I asked him would he just have a few words before I get into our message. Let us hear from the chairman of the board of National Action Network and the pastor of Grace Baptist Church in Mount Vernon, New York, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson.
I want to take this time to celebrate our leader. You know, as he was talking today, I was saying he was quoting history, but he was not only quoting history, he was making history. And we who are here in this room, we are the recipients of magnificent expressions of history that are attached to the leadership of Reverend Al Sharpton. And so much of what he said today is dropped in this space, but in spaces that will come, it will be heard over and over again. And so I don't know about you, I'm glad to be a witness to what the National Action Network represents on the horizon of freedom and justice. We are in some difficult times, but we are capable of victory because we've been in difficult times before. And so I want to thank Reverend Sharpton for what he does, and I'm, on behalf of the board of directors, I want him to know that we are totally with him in whatever ways in which we can empower the great work of National Action Network. National Action Network is the premier civil rights organization in the country. There is no dispute about it. Nobody's disputing that. And we owe that to our founder and president. I also wanted to be here because he's not just the president to me, and I'm not just the chairman. He is one of my best friends. And so when his father passed, and I know the challenges of that relationship, but something about you, the ground shakes when those who are responsible for your entrance have to take their departure. And no matter what the circumstances, you still feel a funny kind of way. So I called him, I said, I'm coming down there today, I'm gonna stand with you because I don't want you standing by yourself. And compounded by the fact, as I looked over in that chair and didn't see Michael. It is, so the transitions of life put us in different circumstances. And we never know how we're gonna end up. We never know how we're gonna make the end of the journey. But by faith, we keep on trusting and holding on to God's unchanging hand. We do not surrender, we keep on going. And we put our capacity to keep on going is that our hope and trust is in God. And so it's my pleasure today to be here. While here, I also didn't know that a member of our congregation is Albert Williams, is the CEO of the HBCU Classic. As you just recently, you know, at Giants Stadium, MetLife Stadium, we had the game between Howard and Morehouse, and it was tremendously attended. This young man is the owner of car services all over the Bronx, and he is a person who's committed to our community and committed to the National Action Network. And at these events, these football games, at halftime, they have places where they celebrate outstanding leaders who have been so important to our struggle. He could not be CEO of the game if it weren't for people like Sharpton and others who preceded him, who made the doors and opened the door. And we have to always remind those who get to be high places. We have to help them understand that they didn't get that because of the school they went to. They didn't get that because of how they look. They got that because somebody made sacrifices so you could get a loan, so you could get opportunity, so you could get privilege. And this brother here today, Albert Williams, is one of those men
who has not forgotten how he got opportunities to be such an powerful influence. And he has the full rights of the HBCU Classic at Met Stadium, and he's going forward into several years ahead to make plans for it, and so we're excited. He had an award that he wanted to present. Reverend couldn't be. He was in Congressional Black Caucus was meeting. He couldn't be here at the game, but Albert said, well, I don't care. I'll still go get him. I'll go find him. And I said, well, you can find him on Saturday morning and ask him. So I want Albert to come and make the presentation to our leader.
Good morning. As Dr. Richardson said, my name is Albert Williams, President and CEO of Sports 1105. We produce the HBCU NY Classic, held every second Saturday in September. Reverend Sharpton is being honored with the HBCU NY Classic Impact Award for his unwavering commitment to civil rights and social justice. For decades, Reverend Sharpton has been a leading voice in advocating for equity, particularly in Black and brown communities. His tireless efforts through the National Action Network has significantly impacted the fight against systemic racism, police brutality, economic disparities that affect our communities and HBCUs across the country. Reverend Sharpton's advocacy for educational equity and support of HBCUs align deeply with my mission as President and CEO of Sports 1105, which we seek to uplift, empower, and provide opportunities for HBCU students. His lifelong work has inspired me and generations of young leaders to continue pushing for social justice. The HBCU Impact Award recognizes those who lead with vision, courage, and determination to foster meaningful change, and Reverend Sharpton embodies those qualities. Through his advocacy, his voice has amplified the importance of preserving and supporting HBCUs, not only as institutions of higher learning, but also essential pillars of cultural communities. We are proud to honor his legacy with this ongoing impact with this prestigious award. Dr. Reverend Sharpton, it's my pleasure, and thank you for all you've done.
Give him a big hand. And certainly I appreciate that award, and several of our young people were at the game and said how they had flashed up on the monitors my picture and the others they were honoring. So I already knew about the award, and I was honored that he would take time to come with his pastor and our chairman and present that today. He doesn't know that I know members of his board, and some preachers was trying to get my award flipped to them, but he stood up for me anyhow, and I appreciate that. Let me say that today, don't forget, watch Politics Nation at 5 o'clock. I'm going to have on the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. It came to mind when Dr. Richardson was talking, and the media head of the Harris Wells campaign. A lot of misinformation going out that we need to straighten up. And then, of course, tomorrow, I'm going to have on two of the senators. There is a black running in Texas that is tied at the polls with Ted Cruz. And he'll be on Politics Nation 5 o'clock with me tomorrow. They're trying to not give him a lot of media attention, but he'll be on my show tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, MSNBC. Now, let me say this before I go into my message. There's been a lot of concerted media around the indictment of our mayor, Eric Adams. And I've talked to the mayor several times this week, and I want to say I've asked for a leadership meeting, which we will do sometime mid or late week. Press is asking me where and when. It is not a press conference. It is a leaders meeting so that we can discuss privately what we need to discuss and come out and have a united, hopefully united point of view. But let me say at the outset that I've known Eric Adams 35 years. I've never known him to have any leanings toward criminality. He deserves due process. He has earned the right, like any other citizen, to be given due process and not be convicted of a crime before a trial. I do not understand how there's different reactions for different people. So let the trial determine where it's going. Now, in that light, I've said publicly, and I'll be saying it in the meetings, leadership meetings, that the governor should not be pressured into removing Eric Adams from being the mayor. There is no precedent for that. We just had a U.S. Senator, Menendez, indicted. They found gold bars in his house, Mercedes-Benz. He was not forced to resign until he was convicted. Where is the precedent for an indictment making you have to step aside? Now, if the mayor decides he cannot run the city well and defend himself, then he will have to make that decision. But I do not understand how we are establishing that an indictment means a conviction and a resurrection. Let the mayor decide where he wants to go. Now, we want the city to work. We want it to run. But we do not want to set a precedent that will come back on anybody else. I've also said to the mayor said, some are saying he was targeted. I do not believe that Joe Biden and nobody targeted nobody. Joe Biden's son was indicted by the same Department of Justice. And Kamala Harris, I do not want this to get into a contest that helps Trump. You notice Trump jumped out there defending Eric Adams, saying Eric spoke highly of me, I defend him, he's being targeted like me. Everything's about him. If I was facing a federal trial, the last person I want to speak up for me is somebody convicted of 34 felonies. I started to call Eric and tell him to tell Trump, shut up. He's not going to help you. You can't have a convict speak up on your behalf. I see some of the press here. Write that down. We know the prosecutor, Damon Williams, has been here and has dealt with cases with us fairly. We're going to see where the evidence is. But we are not going to stand by silently and let Governor Hochul not know that some of us are saying, do not change the process and the precedent. Let due process take its course. And we're not going to get divided from our point of Kamala Harris and Hakeem Jeffries becoming Speaker. We're not going to bite our nose to spite our face. And I was glad Bishop Daughtry and others stood Eric the other day. They raised Eric. People talk about what they're doing there. They raised him. He come out of Bishop Daughtry's ministry. You're supposed to stand with those in your church. You don't know what a minister's supposed to do. And what is so amazing to me is the same media, and I'm not picking on you because you come from where you come from. I won't even tell everybody what paper you write for. But the same media that acts like Donald Trump is a victim done already convicted and put Eric in jail. Same media. It's amazing. No, it ain't amazing. It's historic. That's what they always do. That's why that young man went to jail for 14 years. Because if you're black, you're automatically guilty. Now, every black ain't innocent. Hello. Some folk come here. We have a crisis department open every day. And I tell them all the time, some folk come and they were the crisis. One guy come to, about 3 years ago, Chairman Richardson is talking about, they treated me unfair. They gave me 2 years in jail for assaulting my wife. And the crisis person said, well, why were they unfair? And I happened to be walking by. He said, because I never kicked her, I slapped her around 3 or 4 times. So everybody claiming to be a victim ain't a victim. That's why we must, one of the things that's coming out all of these other arrests and situations, that nothing to do with the mayor, is that we're seeing that we are becoming victimized, Bishop Daughtry, by a culture of celebrating debauchery. I remember years ago, Bishop Daughtry tried to mentor and work with Tupac Shakur. I ended up going up to see him in jail at his mama's request. And we would say, and Tupac was the most brilliant, bright young man you'd want to meet. What happened was that Tupac was in solitary confinement because he kept getting in the spats in jail. And his mother called Charles Barron, who later became a councilman, and said, can you get to Sharpton, because he seems to have some influence. I just run and got that big vote for Senate. Maybe he can help us get Tupac out of solitary. Charles called me, I called the head of prisons of the state, and the head of prisons of the state said, let me call the warden. He was way up in Dannemora, near the Canadian border. And he called the warden, and the warden said, if Tupac will go in an education program, I can justify getting him out of solitary. And we called his mother back. His mother said, well, y'all need to go up there and talk to him. So I called the warden, and the warden said, I'll let you come as a minister. And we went up, and we sat down and talked to him and said to him, you can get out of solitary if you would just sign in this education program. And the more he talked, because I had this image of him, you know, with the gangster talk and all that. The more he talked, the more I understood how brilliant he was. And I said, well, if you sign it, they're going to let you out, and I'm going to come back in a month or 2 and check on you. And he said, do that. And he got ready to leave. He said, you know, I'm surprised how you talk. You nothing like the image I had of you. I said, well, talking about that, you ain't nothing like the image I had of you. But sometimes we judge each other by what others portray us as, rather than get to know each other for what we are. A lot of us are reacting to what is vogue and trendy, and then some of us operating out of our pain. I went through the details last Saturday about the pain and the sense of abandonment I went through with my father. Some of us are still operating out of trauma that we never dealt with. And we need to understand that. And I went back in about a month and a half, 2 months to check on Tupac. He was out of solitary. And a little historic footnote, most of y'all wouldn't know. We sat there, waited on him, they brought him down, and he had a very kind of off-balance look on his face. And I said, you all right? He said, yeah, I'm good, and thank y'all for what y'all did, he said, but I'm just, a little upset on the way down. I said, what happened on the way down? And they had him now out of solitary, but he was with high-profile prisoners, the VIP, I guess, block, where they put me on when I went to jail for Vieques. I was the only VIP on the block. And he said, when they came to my cell and said, you got a visitor, Reverend Sharpton's here again to see you. He said the correction officer had a little attitude. He said he opened the gate, and the cell gates, and let me out. And as I was walking by, a guy that was pretty cool with me, a white guy, a couple of cells from me, said, you going down to see Sharpton? He said, yeah, he's got me out of solitary, he and the others. He said, he the only reason I'm in here. How can you go see him? And Tupac said, well, I don't know if he got you in here, but he helped get me out of solitary. And he came downstairs, and that's what he had this look on his face about. So I said to him, Gonzalez, I said, well, who was the guy? He said, he's a white guy. He said, yeah. He said, his name is Joey. I said, Joey Famer? He said, yeah. I said, he killed Yusuf Hawkins. He in jail because he was part of the gang that shot Yusuf. People don't understand, Famer was on the same cell block. It shows you how stuff go in life. And you can be there and not know who you being with. That's why you ought to treat everybody evenly. Because everybody locked up ain't guilty. And everybody guilty ain't locked up. I'm going down to bury my father. I got three stepbrothers. Two of them been to jail, in jail now. Out of all three been to jail. Most of them is innocent. Most of them. I'm on TV, so I won't say which ones. And that's why we fight for people to the degree we can. But let me tell you something. They are still dealing in an unequal, unfair criminal justice system where they treat people differently. And we cannot equate that with anything other than what it is. But at the same time, don't play into it. And don't try and make yourself. This whole gangster culture that they impose on our young people, we cannot allow them to feel the definition of being black is to be a thug. I remember when Dominique and Ashley was getting older, and they was both in college, and they were talking about how many in college were saying, if you pronounce your words right, talk a certain way, dress a certain way, you're acting white. So what was acting black? That you couldn't talk a certain way? Or you couldn't dress a certain way? Don't define blackness as gutter. Well, I'm true to the ghetto. No, the ghetto was where they put us. We made the best out of the ghetto. They had designers like Robert Moses and others that developed parkways and infrastructure to isolate blacks so they would not be in white areas. That's why they killed Michael Griffith and Howard Beach. Blacks weren't allowed out there. That's why they killed Yusuf Hawkins and Bensonhurst. Blacks weren't allowed out there. Daughtry had to march in areas where we weren't allowed. We didn't create the ghetto. Don't be running around bragging about where they put you. Brag about what you did with where they put you. They meant for bad. God made it good. They cut blacks off from certain areas. Put us in Harlem. Concentrated area. And we started playing our music, writing our books, writing our poetry, and in what they assigned us as a ghetto for low-paying jobs and for servants became a mecca of artistry and literature. And their kids start coming to the Apollo to see us on the stage. We took nothing and made something happen. Don't ever underestimate what you can do. That's why I tell you every week, don't react to your enemies. Just keep on going. God will take those that look down on you and make them have to look up at how blessed he can make you. I said in one of my morning thoughts this week, people talk about, well, maybe you too much for me. No, maybe you too less than me. I ain't got to stoop down to fit your size. Maybe you need to stand up straight. That's why we got some of these scholars here working with us and Reverend McHenry and others. We want to raise our thoughts. They want to stereotype us as some hoodlums and thugs and people that cannot keep a community and family together. Don't play into that. We were brought down, but we're not down. That's why I was reading this week. A lot of y'all that are listening to me on radio, and you that are here, and you that are watching on Impact. If you really believe, let me talk to the Christians. I'm talking about the saved, sanctified, running in your feet. That's where I grew up. If you believe that God sent his son, and if you believe Jesus was his son, then let me ask you a question. Why did God then send his son in the environment and circumstances he did? Go through the environment that Jesus was born in. Jesus was born a Palestinian Jew in Bethlehem, according to the scriptures that you claim you believe in now. They couldn't even find a room for his birth. So he was born to substandard parents who were basically homeless, who had to have him in a barn surrounded with the stench of animals. Bethlehem was under Roman occupation, which they then sent a decree to kill the newborn men. Jesus had to be taken by his father, Joseph, and mother to Egypt to hide until that decree expired. Now, you know, if he was hiding in Egypt, which is in North Africa, he must have looked like the kids in North Africa. You would not go and hide a kid in a neighborhood that the kid didn't look like the other kids in the neighborhood. But let me say my point. They come back, and Jesus started his ministry 30 years old. My point, Dr. Richardson, is that if Jesus' life was that he was standing up and preaching anyhow against the edicts of the Roman Empire that had occupied Bethlehem, then God must have been using his son to also give a message to all of us that have been fighting against oppressive states that treat our communities like occupied zones. So when he gives me an award about police brutality, I'm in line with the Jesus that stood up against the Roman soldiers that told them you're not supposed to gather. They had the laws then, like they had the laws in slavery. You can't have no large gatherings. Jesus was crucified, indicted, and sentenced because he stirred up the people. If nobody was listening to Jesus, nobody would have cared. If we built movements that nobody thought about, nobody be bothering with us. Nobody bothers with you because you ain't bothering nobody. I hear people, preachers all the time, well, I don't understand why they always bothering Sharpton. Got some mess in the paper shop. Why they have to talk? Because we after them. They ain't bothering you because you ain't bothering nobody. You get up and say nothing. Got a pulpit that you entertain from. My daughter make me watch some of the preachers on YouTube. And it's like having 2 slices of white bread with no meat, no salad, no mayonnaise, nothing. They just get up, take a text, and start hooping. And practice their hoop. Got 3 octave hoops. Said nothing. And then tell you, say amen. Say amen to what? You ain't said nothing. I got to close. I'm waiting for you to open. Help me now. Somebody help me preach. I wish somebody would. Jesus came by design as one that was a victim of colonialism, that preached liberation to folk that couldn't afford health care. And that was his abuse. He healed people that couldn't afford the doctors. He called for people to stand up and feed the hungry. Took a couple of fishes and few loaves of bread and fed the masses. So when we're fighting for people that can't afford the cost of living, we're doing what Jesus did. When we're fighting for affordable health care to heal those indiscriminately that can't afford your medical plan, we're doing what Jesus did. When we defend those that have been falsely accused or wrongly prosecuted, Jesus stood up for a prostitute caught in the act, and they tried to challenge Jesus, saying, now we're going to trick him, see if he's going against the law of Moses. Said, Jesus, we are stoning, or the law of Moses said, stoned prostitutes. What sayest thou? Jesus looked at her, looked at them, and said, the one of you without sin, cast the first stone. And the Bible said, Dr. Richardson, a lot of us missed this. Bible said after he said that, he leaned over with a stick and started writing on the ground. I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I always wondered why he started writing on the ground. And I figured it out, Bishop Daughtry. He probably was writing the names of the ones that had been with the woman. Because when he looked up, wasn't nobody there. That's why I'm saying, before you judge folk, think about what you did. Everybody in here does something wrong. Ain't nobody in here no saint. Other than the Donnie McClurkin definition, a saint is a sinner who fell down and got up. Don't forget you've been down, you made mistakes, but get up, don't wallow in what you did. Stand up and be what you can be. don't settle. Don't settle for your past. Some of y'all want to get involved. Some people join National Action Network, want to be activists, but you got a complex. You say, if I get out there, they're going to dig up some mess on me. You don't understand my background, Reverend. You understand what I did. Don't worry about what you did. Don't relive your past. Live your future. Don't keep regurgitating stuff that you did. Own it and say, God delivered me. I ain't who I was. And you are going on and be something anyhow. I was watching that documentary they had on me, Loudmouth. They had it nominated for Emmy this week. I'm not the same I was. And there wasn't nothing wrong with me then. But as you grow, I'll be 70 years old next Thursday. As you grow, I'm not the same at 70 I was at 50. And I wasn't the same at 50 that I was at 30. Don't be afraid to grow. And don't be looking at somebody else's grass saying they're greener than you because they are better looking than you or better in their background. The grass looking greener on the other side. No, the grass is greener on who nurtures and waters the grass. God ain't cut you off. So don't worry about nobody else. I'm talking to somebody. Don't be a captive of your past. God put your past in the rear view mirror. Look out the front window and keep on driving to the destiny that God has for you. Now, as a younger man, leading marches and demonstrations and going to jail, standing up for victims, they called me everything but a child of God. But now, I'm still marching, still standing up for victims. But the president meets with me. Vice president called me, wished me a happy birthday. If God be for you, I didn't change. They had to change how they deal with us. You know, Paul wrote a letter to Timothy. Give me 2 Timothy, 4th chapter, 5th verse. I don't want Dr. Richardson to say I didn't get in the Bible this morning.
But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions.
Wait a minute. This is Paul writing one of his proteges, Timothy, getting him ready, like Dr. Jones and Jesse and others helped get me ready, Daughtry, Richardson. He said, read that part again.
But watch thou in all things.
Watch thou in all things.
Endure affliction.
Endure affliction, which means you're going to have affliction. Some of y'all want to be out here and be up and be known, but you don't want what goes with it. You're going to have affliction. You're going to get talked about. You're going to get adversaries. You're going to have backstabbers. You're going to have people jealous of you. You're going to have people envious of you. But endure afflictions. If you can't endure affliction, you can't receive the elevation. To be elevated takes you out of your comfort zone. To be elevated takes you out of your relaxation. Endure affliction. Put on me all you got to put on me. I serve a God that'll bring me through. Endure affliction. Go ahead.
Do the work of an evangelist.
Do the work of an evangelist. Paul said at the end, all I want to tell you is you're going to endure affliction, just do the work. Your work will speak for yourself. If you go to work, God will make your enemies your footstools. If you go to work, he'll make the high low and the low high. If you go to work, you'll ride by Trump Towers one day and see them coming home with a court indictment rather than a new building. If you do the work, God will make your enemies leave you alone. Stand up and do the work. Reason why they can celebrate me now is I never stopped working. They called me names then. Same ones that called me names is getting in line to give me an award. I do the work. Because Paul said, if you do the work, God will bless you. Every once in a while, I go back to my own growing up. And I remember James Brown of Godfather Soul became like a father to me. I've been thinking about a lot of them as I get ready to go bury my father Tuesday, my natural father. And I remember James Brown used to love the scripture, the 37th Psalm. People didn't know James Brown used to love to read the Bible. And he loved to read the 37th Psalm. Every time he'd face some situation, tax folks after him, this allegation, that one, went to jail in his 50s. And I'd go see him in jail. He'd be reading the 37th Psalm. Fret not thyself because of evildoers. Neither be thy envious. You ain't got to be jealous of nobody. Against the workers of iniquity. Because they shall soon. He didn't give us a date. He didn't give us a timetable. He said they shall soon be cut down and wither as the grass. Mr. Sherry, I watched as Donald Trump called for their execution. But a few months ago, when a black man named Alvin Bragg got a conviction on 34 counts against the man that called for their life, it wasn't popular then when Daughtry and I stood up for the Central Park 5, but soon caught up with them. I don't know the date. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know soon to catch up. They shall soon be cut down. And I know James Brown used to read that, but I told his daughters, I called one Sunday and I said, you know something, we missed a part. She said, what's that? I said, we would always quote 37th Psalm, first verse. I said, but read further. Further in that same psalm. David, who had been king. David, who'd been scandalized because he married a man's wife that he sent to war. There was a scandal. You can imagine how they were talking about him, how the king is sleeping with a man's wife that he sent to war. He survived the scandals. He survived the plots that Saul had tried to kill him because he had the crown. He survived the plots. He survived the conspiracy. He survived the bad media today. And at the end of the 37th Psalms, he said, I've been young, but now I'm old. And I've seen many things. But there's one thing. I've been all over the world. I'm king. I can go all over my empire. But there's one thing I've never seen. I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor their seed beg for bread. I want you to know, almost 70 years old now, I started as a boy preacher. Went on to be a teenage activist. I stood over bodies killed by police and killed by racists. I stood over celebrity bodies like Michael Jackson and James Brown. I've seen a lot of stuff. I've traveled all over the world. But I tell you, this Saturday morning at the House of Justice, 70 years later, there's one thing I've never seen. I've never seen the righteous forsaken. God will make a way out of no way. God will take care of his children. God will make the first last and the last first. God will make the lion and the lamb lay down together. God is still on the throne. God is still on the throne. God is still on the throne. Beams of heaven. As I go through this wilderness below.
gates of hell. For as I go through the wilderness below, guide my feet in peaceful ways. Turn my midnight into day. When in the darkness I would grow, faith always sees a star of hope. And soon from all life's griefs and danger, I shall be free someday. Burdens now may crush me down, disappointments all around, troubles speak in mournful sight, sorrow through a tear-stained eye. There is a world with pleasure reign. No mourning soul shall roam its plain. And to that land of peace and glory I want to go someday. I do not know just how long it will be. The future holds for me, but this I know in Jesus leads me, I shall have, I shall have, good God Almighty, I shall get home someday.
Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. We want justice. We want freedom. Everybody's singing. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. I'm opening the doors of the movement. There may be someone here in the auditorium that have never joined National Action Network. You hear us on the radio, you watch us on television, but you never became a registered member of the organization. If you're here today, just come down straight to me and let us sign you up right now so your name is on the roll. Couldn't come a better Saturday than my birthday Saturday. Come on and join right now. Come on, everybody singing. Everybody sing. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. Everybody now. Everybody sing. Everybody singing. One last time singing. One last time singing. Everybody singing. All right. All right, we're going to move quickly. I tell people 9 to 11. We are about 3 minutes to 11. I'm going to raise our offering and move on. I want everybody in Radio Land, you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and give right on our homepage right now. You can come and do that right now. You that say, I'd like to do something for Reverend's birthday, go right on nationalactionnetwork.net. Some of you will be with us Monday night at Lincoln Center for our birthday. And but you that can't, go to nationalactionnetwork.net. All right, we're gathering quickly. I want all of you here to give to the best of your ability as we continue to do the work that we are supposed to be doing. We cannot go to the bus company and say no justice, no peace, and they give us a bus. We can't go to the folk that sell the food that you eat when we feed folk here and tell them free the land. We got to operate for people that work here. They ain't making great money. They make decent money, but not great money. We got to pay them. And we do that. We don't get federal, city, or state money. Now, we make corporations pay for their way in our conventions and all, but we survive off of our supporters. So I want everybody to give to the best of their ability. I need you in Radio Land, go right now to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. You here, I need about 10 of you here in the audience. Then give $100 or more to come quickly. I need about 10. Guardians, $100. Bishop Herbert Daughtry, $100. Winston Gilchrist, $100. Chairman W. Franklin Richardson, $100. Dr. Jesse Fields, $120. Terrence Floyd, brother of George Floyd, $100. Dr. Haynes, $100. Brother Albert, $100. Dr. Douglas, $100. Dr. Louis Papa, $120. And Queen you, $100. Sister Peggy, $100. Men's Committee, $100. Y'all trusted Tony with a $100 bill? Minister Carolyn, $100. Come on, 50s, 50s, 50s. 50s. I ain't talking about the rapper. I'm talking about $50. Brother Charles, $50. David got on his gold and blue for my birthday, 50. Victor Pate, $50. Good report this morning, Victor, on the air. Don Jones, a national board member, $50. Come on, I see the chaplain coming. All right. Chaplain Sandra Mitchell, $50. All right, 20s. $100 by Tanya Peppers. Brother Walter Bryan, $100. Tisha Hunter, our soloist. All right, now everybody, whatever you have, come on, $1, $5, $10. Everybody.